All right, there's no way to tell this story without sounding like a walking red flag, but I need to let it out. Imagine it's 2 a.m., you're in my living room, and I'm about to spill the wildest, most gut-wrenching secret of my life. This isn't just drama, it's the kind of heartbreak that makes your skin crawl. Let's rewind to last January. My ex, let's call her Hannah, cheated on me. Not just any cheating. She took a trip halfway around the world with her ex and lied to my face about it. But the worst part, I didn't even find out until months later, after she'd already shattered me into pieces and walked away like nothing happened. Hana and I had been together for 4 years. 4 years of late-night ramen runs, stupid inside jokes, and making plans for the future. Our biggest dream, saving up to travel to Japan together. I was obsessed with the idea. Cherry blossoms, neon Tokyo lights, getting lost in tiny ramen shops with her by my side. We talked about it every week, mapping out the perfect itinerary like two nerds with too much time on our hands. We started saving, a little each paycheck, stuffing bills in an envelope labeled Japan or bust. You know those moments that feel too good to be true? That was us, or so I thought. Then 3 months before everything exploded, I saw an alert online. Flights to Haenda were half price. I texted her immediately, "Babe, we should book now, it's basically free." She didn't seem excited. She frowned and said, "I don't know, it feels too impulsive." Her voice got weirdly shaky. "I have this fear of spending money right now. Can we wait?" Now, Hannah had always been weird about money, a childhood thing she told me about, so I brushed it off. But looking back, that was red flag one. The next few weeks got tense. She was distant sometimes, jumpy whenever her phone buzzed. Once, while we were watching TV, she flipped her phone over when a notification popped up. I asked who it was. "Just work," she said too quickly. I wanted to trust her. 4 years is a long time, but something felt off in my gut. Fast forward to January. Out of nowhere, Hana tells me her grandmother is really sick back home. She's from Taiwan and she needs to fly out ASAP. "I'm so sorry," I said, holding her as she packed frantically. "Do you want me to come with you?" She shook her head hard. "No, you should stay here for work, and tickets are expensive right now anyway." Her eyes darted away like she couldn't meet mine. "Text me when you land," I asked. She nodded but barely squeezed my hand before disappearing into an Uber. The first few days apart were brutal. I kept checking my phone every 5 minutes for updates on her grandma or even just a selfie at the airport. Nothing came through except a few dry texts. "Landed safe. Tired." Then silence for hours, sometimes days. I noticed something weird. All her read receipts were suddenly off in our chats. So was her last seen status on WhatsApp. The same settings we'd always kept on for each other because we liked feeling close even when apart. When I finally caught her on FaceTime after 3 days of radio silence, she looked tired but not sad, not how someone should look if their grandma was dying. "How's your grandma?" I asked gently. She hesitated before answering. "She's stable. It's complicated here." Then she mumbled something about being busy and hung up. More days passed. She either ghosted me or sent one-word replies at odd hours, usually when it would have been the middle of the night in Taiwan. That nagging gut feeling turned into paranoia. Was she really where she said she was? One night, after scrolling Instagram for the 100th time hoping for clues, I noticed a tagged story from an old account she forgot to block me from. A snapshot of Hana in front of cherry blossoms in Shinjuku, Gion, with someone cropped half out of frame beside her. My stomach dropped through the floor. I zoomed in until the pixels blurred. That was definitely not Taiwan and definitely not me next to her. The caption read, "Best adventure ever." I messaged our mutual friend Sam, the only person who would be honest with me if something was up. "Hey man," I typed with shaking hands, "did Hana go to Japan?" He took forever to reply. Yeah dude, thought you knew." My heart pounded so loud I could barely read his next texts. "Sorry man, but she went with Kenji." Kenji, the ex she always swore was ancient history. That's when everything shattered inside me. The trip we dreamed about. She did it with him instead of me, and lied straight to my face about visiting her sick grandmother while probably eating ramen in Shibuya or whatever with another guy. When Hana finally came back home, she acted cold, like all that time apart made us strangers overnight. Days later, without warning, she dumped me over text. "Hey, I think we should break up." No explanation. No apology, just done. It felt like a bomb went off in my chest. 4 years erased by one cowardly message and radio silence after that. For weeks after, it got worse instead of better. My mind replayed every conversation looking for clues, every moment where maybe if I'd pushed harder or trusted less or done anything differently, I could have stopped this train wreck from happening. I couldn't eat or sleep properly anymore. Everything tasted stale and empty without Hannah around. My phone became a torture device. I'd stare at our old texts at 3 a.m., scrolling back to when we were happy and still planning that stupid Japan trip together like idiots who believed love made us bulletproof. One night, when insomnia hit especially bad, I tried going out with friends hoping distraction would help, but nothing worked. Every happy couple felt like salt in an open wound, no matter how many shots they bought me at some crowded bar downtown. Eventually, Sam cornered me after class. "Bro, you gotta let go," he said quietly but firm enough that it stung. "I can't," I whispered back before he hugged me anyway, because he knew sometimes friendship is just surviving heartbreak together even if nobody has the words for what comes next. A month after the breakup, when everything still hurt like hell, I found out why Hana had become so distant months before Japan. 6 months ago, something horrible happened to her that she never told me about directly until much later. A sexual assault by someone else entirely that threw her life into chaos long before Kenji reappeared in the picture. Suddenly, all those weird silences and mood swings made sense, but none of it justified what she did to us. Or how completely lost I felt trying and failing to move on without answers or closure from someone who used to be my whole world, but now wouldn't even look at me across campus corridors anymore, as if we'd never existed at all. I tried therapy because everyone said it helps, but honestly, it didn't do much except make me relive everything again under fluorescent lights, while strangers scribbled notes behind clipboards pretending they understood any of this pain inside my chest that wouldn't leave no matter how many pills they prescribed or self-help books they gave me a checkout like band-aids over bullet wounds. Instead of real solutions for heartbreak that feels terminal, some nights alone staring at the ceiling wishing things could go back to before everything broke beyond repair forever. Dating again felt impossible, even when girls slid into my DMs or friends set me up on coffee dates with sweet girls who deserved way more than some broken shell of a guy who can't stop thinking about his ex eating noodles in Tokyo with another man, instead of healing already like everyone expected by now, because enough time had passed according to people who have never been gutted like this before. Every attempt at moving on failed spectacularly. I became obsessed with tracking Hana online secretly, watching stories go live from parties or concerts where she looked happy and free as if nothing ever happened between us. Was it real? Was any of what we had real? Or was she already gone long before Japan? Questions circled endlessly until one night, I cracked open an old group chat from college. "You ever notice how Hana stopped coming around last fall?" Someone wrote casually months ago when I scrolled back far enough looking for patterns where there probably weren't any except ones invented by lonely minds desperate for answers. It hit me then. Maybe everyone saw this coming except me. The last idiot left believing fairy tales always end happily ever after. But ours ended with cherry blossoms and betrayal halfway across the planet while I waited by my phone for news about a sick grandmother who didn't even exist. Oh God. How do you ever trust anyone again after that? Every small kindness starts looking suspicious. Even genuine smiles feel dangerous somehow, because love became weaponized overnight by someone who once called you their soulmate. The paranoia infected everything. Even friendships grew tense. People stopped inviting me out after a while because they could see heartbreak turning toxic inside me. Some nights got so dark it scared even myself, wondering if life was worth all this suffering just because one girl decided you weren't enough anymore after 4 years spent building dreams together out of nothing but hope and empty promises. The truth is, I still loved her despite everything. Still missed hearing her laughter echo through our tiny apartment or watching anime marathons until sunrise curled together under ratty blankets smelling faintly like popcorn and shampoo. I tried journaling obsessively, pages full of angry rants interspersed with desperate apologies I'd never send because deep down I knew none of this would change anything, except maybe make letting go possible someday if I kept writing long enough. But letting go felt impossible every time I remembered how soft her voice sounded when whispering secrets against my neck at midnight, or how fiercely she defended us against disapproving relatives convinced mixed couples never lasted anyway. Even therapy sessions became confessionals where I replayed every argument trying and failing. Not to blame myself for loving someone so broken they shattered both our hearts, just trying desperately not to drown alone anymore. Nights bled into days without meaning. Even food lost flavor except ramen, which tasted like grief now instead of comfort, because every slurp reminded me Japan belonged to someone else forever thanks to lies too complicated for simple closure. Sam tried dragging me out for pickup basketball games, hoping sweat might wash away some sadness, but mostly I flailed uselessly, until collapsing breathless on cold pavement, praying exhaustion might replace heartbreak just once, but it never did. One weekend I ran into Hana by accident near campus bookstore, a collision so surreal I almost believed fate had engineered closure finally after endless months apart. She looked startled seeing me, eyes darting everywhere except mine as if searching exits nearby. "Hey," I managed, weakly forcing a smile that felt more like a grimace. She muttered "hi," then tried sidestepping fast, but I blocked, gently asking softly, "Can we talk, please?" She froze, then nodded reluctantly, following outside where winter wind bit through both our jackets as awkward silence stretched between us longer than any ocean we ever hoped crossing together someday. I blurted out everything tumbling raw. "Why Japan? Why Kenji? Why lie about your grandma?" She stared at her shoes, trembling slightly before whispering, "I'm sorry. I couldn't tell you. I wasn't strong enough." I asked again, voice barely steady, "Did you ever love me?" She looked up teary-eyed, whispering, "Yes. But I hated myself more than I loved you by then." I wanted anger, wanted accusations, but mostly just felt empty watching tears roll down cheeks. I used to kiss countless times, believing love meant protection from pain, not cause for more. She apologized again, then rushed off, leaving more questions than answers swirling behind. As winter wind carried away last shreds, hope clung desperately toward closure nobody earned that day. Later that night, insomnia returned fiercer than ever. Memories looping endlessly, punishing mistakes impossible, undoing no matter how hard tried, forgiving both Hana and myself for failing love's final test, so spectacularly public I couldn't help rubberneck disaster spanning continents. Afterwards, rumors spread faster than truth ever could. Hana villainized online mercilessly by mutual friends angry on my behalf, without understanding nuance beneath surface betrayals, masking deeper wounds nobody saw coming last summer when trust started dying quietly behind closed doors only two shared once upon time. Group chats divided loyalties overnight. Some blocked Hana outright, sending angry DMs demanding explanations nobody owed anymore, while others accused me wallowing too long, refusing move forward, healthily despite best intentions everyone involved. Another month passed, depression deepened further, despite new therapists recommending mindfulness exercises, yoga classes, journaling, gratitude lists. All useless against ache old love refuses, die quietly despite best efforts bury beneath distractions, new cities faces, jobs, hobbies, fleeting comfort, lasting mere moments before grief returns uninvited each morning. I tried dating apps again, matching briefly with women whose profiles promised adventure, laughter, healing. Yet each conversation fizzled soon as ghosts past haunted even smallest flirtation, making intimacy feel treacherous instead inviting. One night, desperate clarity struck midway through panic attack, gasping alone, bathroom mirror, sweating, shaking hands, clutching sink edge, praying silently pain might end soon. It did. Instead, numbness set in, a dull ache occupying space. Hope used live, reminding daily how easily trust shatters, leaving survivors picking shards forever afterward, unable, risking vulnerability, twice lest history repeat itself spectacular fashion. I called Sam, sobbing, incoherently confessing darkest thoughts aloud, risking judgment, because only thing scarier than heartbreak is silence stretching endless with nobody listening anymore. His voice cut through static gently fierce. Brother, you're not alone, okay? You're not broken beyond repair no matter what Hannah did or didn't do last January or any month since then. You're allowed grieve as long takes, but please promise won't disappear quietly into darkness without fighting at least once more for yourself, not just memory what used be. I promised weekly meaning every word despite doubts gnawing inside, reminding daily love cost, everything once cherished leaving nothing behind, but scars slowly learning living alongside instead, erasing entirely. As spring crept closer, sunshine warming city streets, ghosts faded, slightly replaced tentative hope, maybe someday happiness possible again. If only dared believing future brighter than past destroyed so carelessly by somebody trusted most. After endless therapy sessions, group chats, self-help podcasts, long walks through city chasing sunsets, realizing truth finally clicked. I wasn't stuck loving Hannah forever despite grief insisting otherwise all these months, since betrayal tore lives apart irreparably. Love doesn't vanish overnight, nor does healing arrive predictably scheduled intervals demanded by impatient friends, family, therapists. Hoping progress measurable, comforting, neat charts, graphs, journals, filled affirmations masking silent agony beneath surface appearances. Suggesting otherwise convincingly enough, fool outsiders never lived heartbreak firsthand. One afternoon, browsing old photos, stumbled across snapshot taken summer before everything fell apart. The two of us grinning idiotically outside local sushi bar, arms tangled, laughter frozen, midair, joy untainted. Yet by secrets, lies, betrayals waiting silently, future neither foresaw, approaching fast as bullet train barreling down tracks toward inevitable collision, changing courses permanently forever afterward. It hit then hardest yet. Nothing lasts. Not even deepest wounds, heartbreaks, betrayals imagined permanent during darkest nights, spent mourning futures, never realized alongside soulmates, vanished suddenly. Without warning, explanation, closure due, anyone left behind picking pieces alone afterward, hopelessly wishing. Could turn clock back, undo choices leading here today, typing confession. Aloud, hoping strangers listening online might understand better than anyone nearby ever possibly could, given messy, complicated reality hiding beneath. Surface drama, viral gossip stories, retold endlessly, search meaning, redemption, purpose. Amidst chaos, confusion, longing, belonging, acceptance, finally peace, quietly earned, one painstaking step time toward uncertain brighter tomorrow, awaiting patiently, horizon just beyond reach tonight. And then, as if universe needed one final twist, my phone buzzes unexpectedly, lighting up bedroom darkness, blank screen, flashing single message from unknown number, overseas area. Code immediately recognizable despite distance, time elapsed since last contact between two souls torn apart irrevocably 8 months prior, betrayal nearly killed both, slowly, silently, secretly inside without anybody noticing. Until too late, saving either properly anymore, regardless intentions, motivations, explanations. Offered belatedly, second chances rarely. Deserved truly anyway, ultimately, inevitably, always costing far more than anybody expects. Entering willingly, blindly, trusting love. Repeatedly, against best judgment, reason, logic, survival instinct screaming. Run far away possible, avoid disaster looming ahead. Disguised temporarily fleeting happiness, borrowed, 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 borrowed. But curiosity wins momentarily over caution, heart skipping beat, reading simple message, blinking back tears, remembering exactly why letting go hurts worst right before healing finally begins anew, someday, maybe, somehow, somewhere else, entirely far removed, shadows, memories haunting still tonight. Did you ever really forgive me? Or are you still waiting for answers you'll never get?